Hey, welcome, 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 all of my Renegade family, my Heroscape family, all of my family. Welcome to Mini Monday. Sorry, I'm really far away from the camera. I hope everyone is having a great week so far, even though the week just started. I'm super excited because I get to paint with you guys today. And I am going to be painting. I pronounce it Haluchott? Haluchott. Haluchott. That's who we're painting today. And first, before I get any further, I'm probably going to say this a few times, but I want to say it right at the forefront. This is one of the coolest miniatures I have ever seen. It is just, it's just so cool. And I'm so excited that I get to paint it with you guys today. I'm giddy because it's such a cool mini. And if you'd like to own this mini, pick this guy up. So this is one of the brand new expansions for Heroscape by Renegade. It is Embers of War, Heroes of Arboreas. Arboreas. That's what we're gonna go with. It's really cool. It's got a couple new beasts, a couple new beast tamers, and yeah, it's really cool. So, it's a big mini, so let's go ahead and get started. Drop some thumbs up, some likes, all of that good stuff down in the chat. If there's anything specific question-wise you got for me, I do have Haluchott's card next to me. We can talk about, the character. We can talk about whatever you guys want. Whatever you guys want. I got some life updates. I'll share it with you. And let's go ahead and get started. So as always, we have washed the miniature with warm soap and water, and then I have primed it in Wraithbone primer from Citadel Rattle Can. And the reason that I've chosen that type of priming in this time is because I'm going to be using some contrast and some speed paints. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about speed paints and contrast paints. It's it's a very popular way, especially for people getting into painting to get started. So, and veterans love it too. And so that's what we're going to do for some of the larger areas, just to get some color down. So for the cape, the fur, feathery, beautiful cape that she is donning here, I'm going to go with like a reddish brown. And because it's a large surface, I do want to use the contrast paint slash speed paint tactic, but I don't have any colors that I like, straight out of the pot. So we're going to make a color. I kind of messed around with this a little bit before the stream. Let's come up with a color that I was happy with. And the combination that I found I liked the most was these two speed paints here, Warrior Skin with a bright red. It kind of gives it like a rusty color. And if I remember correctly, I think it was a 4-to-1 ratio. So I'm going to do 4 drops of the Warrior Skin. Here's my palette in the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to do 1 of the bright red. And boop. Drop that in there. Give it a swirl. Okay. And we're just going to get after it here. like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream here, some life updates for those that care. It's been a while since I've been on stream, I feel like. I know it's been the normal amount of time, or the time that I'm usually gone. It just feels a little longer. I actually just changed jobs, so that's kind of new. Started new job last week. Going really well so far. So that's cool. Let's see, what else since last stream? It's October, so my last stream would have been in August, right? So let's see. I wonder if I had gone to Vegas. I probably had gone to Vegas and come back. Maybe I hadn't been to Kentucky. Went on some trips lately. Vegas and Kentucky were my two big trips recently. So with contrast paints and speed paints, you got to kind of work a little quickly. You don't want there to be a line. You don't want it to dry in one spot and then go over it with wet, because it's gonna darken up what was already there. So you want to kind of keep moving it before it dries, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That's definitely much more of an issue for contrast paints, in my experience, unless you really water them down. For a big surface area like this, one little trick that you can use, like with these feathers, is let's say you're running out, like I am now. I'm getting close to I need to make more. So I'm going to want to try and find a spot where there's not a big transition. So I'm going to like try and like stop at the edge of these feathers here instead of going into the feathers. And then we'll just try and go quick. I just didn't want to make too much. That's 4 of that one. And 1 of that guy. And stir. So yeah, I just didn't have a reddish brown that I liked for this cloak. And so I just kind of made my own. And it really is kind of like a brick color. Like a light colored brick, not a dark colored brick, obviously. Why did I prime it white instead of black with added white dry brush? That's a great question. Number one reason, other than I didn't really think about that. No, I did. Because under the cloak. So under like this area here, between, I guess, her body and the back of the cloak, I wouldn't have been able to get in there with a dry brush. And I guess the argument could be made, okay, well then just leave it black. But if there's, I didn't want to leave it black, you know what I mean? I would have had to have figured out some way of adding some color back there. I mean, obviously it can be dark because it's going to be a shaded area, but I didn't want it to be colorless at all. So that's the reason. Because it would have been tough to dry brush white in these areas here. But if you don't care about that, or you have a trick, that's cool too. That is definitely a way to do it, for sure. I've been doing a lot of different type of priming and painting. So like the minis that I have next to me, Queen Queen Bug Lady Maledrix. I think that's how it's pronounced, right? Maledrix, something like that. And my witches, they're painted straight black because I'm not using any contrast paint with those. And I'm not really a big zenithal highlight person. Great question, though. For those that are unsure, what Chris in the chat had talked about is one method that you can do with contrast paints is you can prime the miniature straight black and then do a white dry brush, as heavy or light as you'd like. And then when you put the contrast paint or speed paint over the natural shadows and stuff will kind of do their own thing because, you know, white, black color, pigment reasons. Reasons that I don't know because I am not a color. There's got to be a name for it, right? Somebody who, like, is good at mixing colors. I am not a Crayola employee. A Crayola color chemist, or whatever they call their peeps. I also need to make sure that I'm kind of holding this upright because as the paint dries, I want it to be like flowing down. I don't want it to like sit. But I also am trying really hard not to get any of this on the white back there. Although I'm really not as concerned with that as I am when I get the black in there. Because she is a minotaur of some kind. And I want her fur to be black. And that makes me nervous because the black can easily get on what I'm doing right now, which kind of defeats everything I just said to Chris's question. If I get black on it, which I will, because, you know, it's me. And so we'll just deal with it when it happens. Sorry, I guess that's off camera. I don't know why I'm so far over. Let me come over here to you guys. I think it's because my mic is over there, so I'm used to looking towards the mic. Because if I put the mic here, then it's all up in my wet palette space. Ah, the curse of limited desk space. Yeah, I like how the speed paint is drying on the cloak as well. Looks very cool. Alright, so now we will move on. I think we'll go now to the fur. So now we gotta grab our black. You could also do a gray, which I considered. I do think I want black, though. Yeah, I think I'm going to go black. So we'll go with a little bit of Grim Black speed paint from Army Painter. Alright. Man, these are all kinds of gross. Been a while since I've opened these. Let's go there. We'll go 3 dots. That should be enough. But we'll see. I think I'm going to grab a smaller brush. Should I use this one? We'll go this one. Smaller surface area, kind of. I'm going to get the mane with black. I'm going to do the whole body. I'll kind of go around the bones, but I'm going to paint the bones, so I'm not really too worried about contrast getting there. I do want to kind of leave... What color do I want this to be? See, this should be the same color as the cloak. I think I'm going to do that before this dries. And I lose all this. Oh, I've already lost it. It's already, like, watery. I completely forgot that I had decided that I was going to paint this bottom part the same, like, feathery fur as the cloak. I say feathery fur because I can't figure out if it's feathers or if it's fur or if it's both. So I just keep saying feathery fur. It definitely looks more like fur than feathers, but I don't know why that's not catching. I'm going to have to make a little more. What I mean by not catching is the contrast isn't grabbing onto or the speed's not grabbing onto the primer. And it might be just because there's not enough primer there in that spot. It's one of the things that stinks about rattle cans sometimes is you can't be as precise as you could with like an airbrush, but credit to those who can use an airbrush. I cannot. Oh, nice. Nice shout out. Thanks for commenting. That's awesome. Yes, I would love to see your Dragoon. Did I paint Dragoon? I must have painted Dragoon. I think I painted Dragoon. Yeah, in situations like this where you have, you know, the mini so close to something and you can't, like, get in there like I want to, just do the best you can, you know. we'll call that good for now. Grab some of that black and start working on that. She has this really cool snake that kind of like wraps around her. I'm just going to paint the snake separate, so like I mentioned earlier, I'm okay if some of this stuff gets black on it. As long as it doesn't go on the cloak. Which it will. I'm just saying it out loud now so that I'm mentally prepared for when it happens. And I'm not thoroughly saddened for messing up my very nicely painted cloak. Sometimes with contrast paints, if you do get a little on something, it's not super noticeable. But when you're using black, it's hard to make it not noticeable. That's weird. The black that I'm using is kind of looking blue in the camera, but I'm glad that I decided to go black and not gray, though, because the gray would have been not, I wouldn't have liked it. So then I would have had to have done a second layer of gray, hoping that it would get dark enough to make it black. Which, if you're totally unsure what you want, that is an option. You could go gray, and then if it's not dark enough for you, you can go over the gray again to darken it up and make it more like a black. But it still might not look as good as just black would, so. In this case, I felt pretty confident that I wanted it to be black, and in this case, it was, the results are favorable. Yeah, it's been a couple of months, unfortunately, since I've been able to go to my local game store and actually play. So I haven't had an opportunity to play any of this wave. I did last wave, but I haven't been able to play any of this wave, and I don't know when I'm gonna get to go again, because now we have the holidays, and I just started this new job. And so my time is a little limited at the moment. So I honestly don't know when that's going to start back up for me. And it's a shame, because that really means I'm doing no gaming, because Heroscape's basically the only game I play anymore. Because it's just so good. Yeah. Oh, man. Love it. The only thing that makes me sad sometimes about Heroscape is just how strong some of the older stuff still is. And it really does have a lot of people playing, you know, a lot of the older stuff for like ultra competitive things. And I just want to see more new stuff. Like when these waves come out, I want to see just that stuff almost. Like I just want to see what new things people can come up with, the new stuff. Does that make sense? It'll get there. It'll get there. Although it has gotten more, definitely as like these later waves have come out, like seeing a lot of bugs and bears, a lot of bugs and bears and machines, um, which is all super cool stuff, right? I'm just kind of going like in the crevices here because again, there's the snake wrapped around her. And that's going to be a totally, so it's going to look a little strange at first. You're going to be like, why are all those things not painted? And that's just because the snake is going to be painted separate. I will hand paint that. I thought about using contrast for the snake. But in order to do that, I feel like I would have had to have been a lot more careful with this step and in the interest of time because it is a larger model. Like, that's the thing. I said it at the beginning and I said I was going to say it again, so I'm going to say it again now. This is by far one of the coolest miniatures I have ever seen. Any game, period. And I've been playing miniatures for a long time. So, well done on this mini, for sure. Just the design, it's very good. And don't let pictures fool you, guys, because it is a big miniature. She's pretty tall. Like, I wish that I had some things on my desk that I could show you that are, oh, Deflectatron, or this guy's name. Look at how big she is compared to him. There's a good size comparison. Look at that. Right? That's huge. Let's put her next to the Queen, who's also on my desk right now. Here's the Queen. Here's her. She's massive. Don't let the pictures fool you. This is an amazing miniature. Which is not to say the pictures are bad. The pictures are great. But until you get your hands on this mini, I'm telling you, it will blow you away. It will blow you away. That is the Louie guarantee. Okay. Okay. And then the main. Grave Grim with zombies, or Crimson Widow using her power to make airborne elite a pirate squad. Sure. I'm not saying that those things aren't good. And if I did say that, that's not what I meant. That's pretty cool. I dig that. Heck yeah. All right. I love it. And, knock on wood, which is not a Taylor Swift reference, by the way, I haven't messed up, which is great. It's great for me. Okay. So I think the last color that I'm going to use contrast / speeds paints on, I keep saying that because you're like, Louie, you've only used speed paints. Well, now I'm going to use the contrast paints. I'm going Skeleton Horde, and I'm going to do this specifically for her mask with these horns, which are part of the mask. These are bone horns that come out of her head, in my mind. But this is part of the mask. So that and the staff are going to be this Skeleton Horde, which is supposed to look like bone, and in my opinion, it does not. But it is going to tint this in a way that I hope will look cool. And then the actual bone, which she's got some bone around her waist, she has her antlers, and then she has bone on her shoulders and around her neck. So there's bone everywhere. I'm going to use my tried and true bone recipe, which would be Xandri dust and some other things. We'll talk about that when we get there. But for now, we're going Skeleton Horde contrast. Let's get into that. And I'm going to be pretty liberal with this. There are some leather straps. I don't care if this gets on those straps because I'm going to paint those too. Already got a color nice picked out for that. So the color for the cloak, if you missed that part, that is a 4-to-1 mix of bright red and... I'm sorry, a 4-to-1 mix of... Gosh, where is that pink color? There's one. Where's the other one? Oh, it fell on the floor. It was closed. Warrior skin. There we go. Four drops of warrior skin to 1 drop of bright red speed paint. That was the mix that we got for the cloak. And now this is straight up Skeleton Horde contrast paint. I was like, where's this paint? And then I remembered that I did knock something on the floor earlier. there's so much nice texture in on like the staff and the cloak and stuff like that, that these contrast paints are really like doing a good job of bringing those details out. Like especially here on this, it's making this look like wood, which is not necessarily what I was going for, but it looks really cool. So happy with this decision here. Happy little decisions with my happy little miniatures. Which is not at all Bob Ross reference. Almost said Bob Vila. Who is old enough in this chat to know who Bob Vila is? Was? Is he still with us? Is he still around and kicking? He used to have a show. I don't remember what the show was called. This Old House? Was it called This Old House? Bob Vila? You haven't lived unless you have watched a Bob Vila infomercial at 2 a.m. on a school night. That's living right there. You youngins don't know what you're missing. Back in my day. I have this wildly vivid memory of watching an infomercial at like, probably, like I said, probably 2 in the morning at my friend's house. And the infomercial was for an immersion blender. And it was like the coolest thing ever, this immersion blender. And, yeah. I don't know why I bring that up. It might be in the Mandela effect. That might not have actually ever happened. But man, it sure is vivid in my mind. Alright, so there we go with our... Oh no, I didn't get the horn things that I said I was going to do. I just recently told my wife that immersion blender story. I don't personally feel like contrast paints give you as good a coverage as speed paints do. I'm really gonna have to try and find a replacement color for the skeleton horde that I've used in this manner. Alright, there we go. So now we've got that looking like that. That looking like that. I do kind of like the straps being a lighter color. I was gonna make those dark, but seeing it like that, I kind of dig that, to be honest. Yeah, I kind of dig that a lot. All right, now we're gonna go. So she has this like cloak thing. It's like a cloth fabric that goes like around her hips, and then that's what this is that comes down. So this part here that you can see kind of above, these are like some bones, and then back there it's like a cloth wrap that goes around her waist, and then these things come down. The box art has them being white, and I kind of like that, but I think okay. All right. I'm going to grab my Ulthuan Gray. We're just going to go white here, I think. Louie, it's already white. Yes, it is. I got to use my paint mixer. Ulthuan Gray, for some reason, is not very consistent as far as it just dries out so easy. I don't understand. I feel like I'm always getting a new pot of this because it's always drying out on me no matter what I do. I don't understand. So this is Citadel paint. It's kind of like a bluish white. Now I put way too much water in it. Now it's too watery. Before it wasn't watery at all, and now it's too watery. She also has this strap that goes around her waist that has bones on it. It's not really a strap, it's more like a rope or a string. I just don't know what color I want the rope to be. Probably gray is what I'm thinking. And the reason that I'm doing this white now instead of waiting is because I really am mostly just trying to figure out, like, it's helping me see where the other things are in that area. Because there's also, like, this jewelry bead thing that goes around her waist also. It's got, like, some orbs on it, if you will. And I have no idea what it's supposed to be. And I also have no idea what color it's supposed to be. So I'm going to be taking some liberties there. Because we really only have 2 reference photos, right? We have the photo, the art that's on the card, and then you have the pre-painted mini. Which has a limited palette. So some of the things that might need, or, well, I shouldn't say should, but in theory would be a different color. You know, they're the same color, again, because of the limited palette, which makes sense. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go gray. So I'm gonna grab oh, you know what? We're gonna go with this guy here. Storm Vermin Fur. That's a good color. Doesn't get used a whole lot. It's just gray. If you're following along at home, it's just gray. If you don't have this color, grab you a No one said anything in the chat about Bob Vila, so either no one knows who he is or nobody's watching. Either way, I know who Bob Vila is. It's okay, Bob. I really am curious, though, if he's... So many celebrities have passed away recently, it's hard to... And see, like, I think stuff like this is all gonna be... like these ropes and stuff. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to do the bone before I can really do this rope, because I'm gonna use this color for the rope that ties the pauldron to the shoulders. And I want to use that same color, but I really want them to be painted first. So I do want to maybe completely skip the Xandri dust step and just go straight for the Ushabti bone. Normally I would do like a three color palette. I think I'm just gonna go 2. So I'm gonna start light, and then I'll just use a shade or a wash to darken it down. Again, for the interest of time. Ooh, no, that was bad. Don't do that. All right. Let's do these first. Let's see how it looks. Significantly lighter than I wanted it to be. I don't know, gang. I might switch and do the darker color. After all, that Xandri dust. Because this color matches the staff color a bit better than I thought it was going to. Let's just do this up here. Yeah, look how close that is in color. Wow. That's wild. I do not remember that skeleton horde being that close to Ushabti bone. There's almost no difference. I mean, I guess if you like get real close, you can see a pretty big difference, I guess. Maybe once I put a wash on it, it'll be... Let's paint these horns, let that dry. And we'll put a wash on it and see how it looks. can't, like, it's kind of whitewashed out because of the light. Let's see if I lower this a little. No, it's still... Holy moly. Let's see if I can... Oh, it's because this light is just too dark. Let's see. Maybe I can turn that one off. There we go. No. It just really likes that those things are light colored, I guess. Once all of the other colors start going on it, once I put the wash on it, it'll be okay. Okay, I gotta turn that back on. And this up. 1, 2, 3, 4. That. Alright, give it a second to adjust there. I think that's all the stuff that's bone. I'm gonna grab a metallic to paint those orbs that are on the belt around the waist. I'm gonna grab acrylic, pro acryl bronze. Pretty sure I said this in the last video that I made, but I'll say it again. I really like Pro Acryl's metallics, specifically this one and their dark metal. Is that what it's called? Dark metal? Dark silver. Sorry, dark silver. Probably my two favorite metallics. So this is the bronze. I don't know if y'all ever pay attention to the music that plays in the background. It's just like a royalty-free like loop of sound, basically. But every time this one in particular comes on, I've heard this one quite a few times. For some reason, I think of Willy Wonka. Pure imagination. Pure imagination. That's what I hear in my head. Pure imagination. That's what I hear. Hey, what's up, Tom? Tom says I should check out Army Painter Speed Metallics. Fantastic paints best I've used. I think maybe I think I got a kit. I think it came with the metallics, and I honestly don't think I've tried them. So I will take that recommendation. I think the kit that I bought came with like probably a silver and a gold. All right, there, little Haluchott. All right, let's paint this. Let's paint this snake. I'm gonna go with the box art on this one, and I'm gonna paint a red snake. And I think, what red am I gonna use? The box art, it's a bright red snake. But bright red just doesn't, I don't know that that's necessarily gonna go with our aesthetic here. So I might go darker red. Although, I don't know, man. Let's see, maybe Mephiston red? We'll go Mephiston red. Tried and true. Mephiston red. Citadel. I just as easily could have picked any of the other reds that I have. So, again, if you're following me at home, please choose any red that you like. I may start painting it this red and hate it. Alright, where is this guy here? And of course it's going to look a little different up top because up here it's all white and down here I'm painting over black, so I'm just going to have to live with that. That's nothing. I mean, I could paint everything up there black and then paint over it, but we're not going to do that. Oh, I just realized it's two snakes. It's not just one snake. That makes sense. Because there's one head and there's the other head. Sorry, I just realized I hadn't said anything in like several minutes. Sorry. It's a little nerve-wracking when you get to this part because you know, you don't want to get anything on. You don't want to get paint anywhere that you don't want to get paint. The paint's not even grabbing. You see that? Why? I swear you can't make this stuff up sometimes. Several reasons that can happen. It could be that there just wasn't enough primer on that specific spot. It could be that there was too much water on that particular drop of paint. I don't know. Chemistry. Definitely something to do with science. We're getting there. We're getting there. Almost. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, she's a big mini. Do not let those photos that you see on the internet fool you. She is a big miniature. And a very, 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 very cool miniature at that. Now that I have a new job, I don't know how much I'm going to get to paint anymore, which makes me very sad. I have... This will make 3 as far as what projects I have currently on my desk. I don't want to start any more until these 3 are finished. Or at least until 1 or 2 of them are finished. But there's just so much cool stuff. Wait until I can get my hands on them G.I. Joes. Grab a little more Mephiston red here. Ooh, see that? I just dropped my paintbrush on the table. At least I didn't drop it on the miniature. Alright, snakies are done. Alright, now we need to just finish up those ropes slash string slash whatever they were with our, what paint color was this? Storm Vermin Fur. Such a cool mini. I can't get over it. So stinking cool. All right. I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy with that. As far as the bone and stuff. So I'm gonna grab a brown wash. We're gonna go Agrax Earthshade here. I'm gonna put this on the bony stuff. And then we do the straps, and then we do the little gem thing, and we're done. Almost there. Stay with me. All right. I'm gonna put this on. I'm going pretty heavy with this because I do want there to be a difference between the mask and the bone. Although I'm starting to see now that there's really not as big of a difference as I wanted there to be. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. We're going to lose this one, but that's okay. It's all good. Bones are bones are bones. Maybe at some point the helmet and the mask could be a completely different color. Maybe I go in there with a metal of some kind, make it like a golden mask. Bobby was still alive. All right, at least someone knew who Bob Vila was. I feel better. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely wanted a little more separation in the colors. Of the helmet / mask. But other than that, I like how it's turned out. Like I said, I could always go back. Can't today in the interest of time, obviously, but I may consider going back and maybe painting the mask a different color so that it didn't look like that. All right, let's grab, I'm going Rhinox hide for the straps. It's like a dark brownish red. I'm like shaking real bad today. You get the idea of what I'm doing there, right? Straps all the way down. Man, I'm like super out of time. They're gonna start yelling at me soon. And then there's going to be all these straps here. I'm doing a very bad job. I'm just trying to give you some context of what I'm doing here. So I'm going to do all the straps in that color. I'm going to do this real quick. Renegade, if you're out there, very sorry. I'm going. Promise. Okay. Last thing. Where is it? We're going to do this combination here. Ultimate glow in the dark paint with some data system glow. This isn't going to work in real time because obviously I can't show you guys glow in the dark. But if you can see on the palette up there, this is the color that it's going to be, and it's going to glow like that. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna literally like douse this thing in this color. See what I'm saying? I'm gonna douse it in that. And then I'm gonna let it sit there and dry. And I might do 2 more coats. You can't really. Oh, you can kind of see it a little bit there. Kind of that little glow effect. Once this dries, it will look like it's glowing. And then redo all of the straps. And then take this glow-in-the-dark paint and put it over the green. And she'll light up. And I'll probably do that for the eyes also. I'll probably put it in the mask. But alas, we are out of time, and I will not. I can't. I have to wait for all of this stuff to dry in order to get to that point. But there she is. If you wanted to take this up a notch, which will be my next steps after, probably add a wash to the white, just to give, so you can see some of the texture a little bit, and then finish those straps and that, and then maybe just come back here and pick some of these out, pick some of the hair out. You can see where the contrast paint didn't settle quite properly, so we'll have to go back and fix all that up. But she's definitely ready for the table, and after a few more finishing touches, she'll be ready for the display case. So yeah, make sure that you follow my socials. They're all at The Real Daddy Louie. It's up there in the top, that way, top right corner of your screen. And once this is all done, I will post pictures there, as I do with all of my miniatures. I think the Grave Grim was the last thing that I posted up there, because that was the last thing that I finished painting. And so now I've got Haluchott, and I've also got Queen Malatrix, as well as these. I've got these acolytes over here too. So lots of Heroscape on my desk. Hopefully your desk is also filled with Heroscape dropping paint. Hopefully your tables are full of games. Your boards are full of games. Your tables are full of miniatures. And I don't know. I was trying to think of something cute, and it didn't really work out very well. Oh, it's been a long day. Okay. Anyway, thank you to Renegade, as always, for having me on these streams. Thank you to those of you watching. You could be anywhere else, but you chose to be here with me, and I do so much appreciate that. Make sure that you take care of each other, play games, paint your miniatures, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.